Now have a moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hereby call this meeting of the Monongalia County Commission to order. It is Wednesday, January 8th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and let the record reflect that all three commissioners are present. First item on the agenda is this is our organizational meeting for the year, and the first item on that is election of County Commission President for calendar year 2025 in accordance with West Virginia State Code 7-1-1. Is the will of the commission?
Move Jeff Arnett as president.
Okay, I will second that. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Jeff?
Yeah. Clap now. His phone number is.
My alias is Tom Balloon.
Yeah.
Call that whenever you're ready. Okay, moving on. Next agenda item is adoption of Robert's Rules of Order. What is the commission's will?
Move for adoption.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, essentially, we loosely follow these rules. We're just specifically and officially noting that there are reference point for parliamentary proceedings for running our meetings. The exceptions would be the rules of order, which we'll take up next. So anything that's not addressed in our rules of order, we would go by, our rules of procedure, we would go by Robert's Rules of Order.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, passes. Next, we have amendments to the rules of procedure for meeting management of the Monongalia County Commission. Basically what this is, we have a set of rules of procedures that we follow for all of our meetings, and there's been a slight tweak to those. Just clarifying some of the, our COVID response essentially, and just clarifying some of the language therein. We have a motion on the matter.
I move that we approve the rules of procedure as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, as our president had indicated, we clarified a little bit of the guidance that we had, the looseness that we had put in there during COVID. And we still have the same flexibility. We just put some guide rails in there in regards to participation in meetings, whether it be virtual or in person. And then one other, probably the biggest thing in the rules of procedure, we added the appointment of a president pro temp pure. How's that how you say it?
Pro
Pure.
tempore, yeah.
President pro tempore. And we won't have to say that anymore once we say we're just going to call it President pro tem.
Yes.
So that's another item that we've added to our rules of procedure.
Great, so that's been, let's see, we already moved and voted on that.
We didn't vote. We just
Oh, okay.
First and second.
All right, all those in favor?
aye.
Sorry about that. Next, we have election of county commission president pro tem for calendar year 2025. So essentially, when the president's unavailable, this person is being elected to be able to step in almost like a vice president, essentially, so they can do official orders that the acts that the president normally could do but couldn't do as they are in absentia. So that's
And
what we're looking at.
I would move that we appoint Commissioner Tom Bloom as President Pro Tem for the calendar year 2025.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'd just like to note that we have loose rules in regards to the rotation of the presidency, and basically we follow a 2-5 appointment. So we decided, and we talked about different, our thoughts about a president pro tem and what we should do, and we thought maybe, well, it would be if the president was of one party, the pro tem had to be somebody of another party. But then we said, well, that would mean that I would be either president pro tem or president all the time. And then if the parties changed, then Tom would be in that position. And I think we decided, well, that doesn't really work. So we threw out the idea of following a 1-4 schedule, which would allow actually the president pro tem to almost like president in waiting. That seemed to be the most logical. And of course, it could change every year, and these are just loose guidelines that we follow. It can change based on circumstances, but I think that seemed to be the most logical way to move forward.
Next on the agenda is the 2025 Monongalia County Commission meeting schedule. It's a pretty standard schedule until the only notation I would make is December 23rd and December 30th as the Wednesday of those weeks falls on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. We've moved the meetings back to Tuesday. This year we did them on Monday, but it'll be on Tuesday next year based upon the new schedule. So do I have a motion to approve the meeting schedule for 2025?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's that. Next, we have the 2025 holiday schedule following our standard observance of federal holidays and state holidays, as in West Virginia Day. So do I have a motion to approve the 2025 holiday schedule?
I move that we approve the 2025 holiday schedule as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And note that we always have at the bottom of the list, we always note that any other holidays which are delegated will therefore be recognized by this commission.
Yeah, our outgoing governor is very generous on wish days, as I call them, so days that the place, it'd be great to have this day. He was very good about that. I don't know what Governor Mercer will be like, but we'll find out. Next on the agenda, the 2025 Board of Review and Equalization schedule. This is the schedule where we review any appeals to the assessments for the tax assessments, and this sets the schedule for those hearings. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the Board of Review and Equalization schedule as presented. As
Second.
presented.
All any discussion?
Nope.
Pretty self-explanatory. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. Next, we have the commissioner appointments to various boards, authorities, and committees. Each of us are assigned different committees and boards that we serve on, and this is an updated list of those. No significant changes that I can see. Do I have a motion to approve the appointments as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will note that one thing that we forgot in our rules of procedure that we noted, which was another change, and we talked about appointments to boards and commissions. We had put a stipulation in there that it's our desire to not appoint individuals to boards and commissions that are currently actively seeking an elected position. And that
Yeah.
was something that
And that was-
we had talked about over the year, and we thought that was, we didn't want people wanting to be on boards and commissions just to use it as a springboard for positions. We want people that have a desire to serve whatever board and commission it is.
And that's a pretty liberal distinction as far
Yeah.
as they don't have to have announced if an individual has made it known that they're running, that at least it's our intent to follow that guideline.
Correct.
Okay, moving on to consent and approval with our county administrator, Renetta McClure. Good morning, Renetta.
You have no exonerations to approve. Minutes from December 30th, 2024. Vouchers, General County, $374,729.77. General School, $263,090.93. 911, $1,820.86. Chestnut Ridge Park, $734.88. Camp Muffley, $16,269.98. Mason-Dixon Park, $176.85. Mon County Center, $4,743.84. Assessor's valuation, $1,783. Purchasing card, General County, $7,186.34. 911, $220.35. Camp Muffley, $1,653.53. Mason-Dixon Park, 16548, Mon County Center, 1,121.34, assessor's valuation, 788.50, for a voucher total of 674,485.65. We have no budget revisions. Position vacancies for the boards and authorities are listed on our county website, and fiduciary orders for December 30th, 2024.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any additional fiduciary items today?
There was one that came in, I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at it with the holiday and everything.
That was on the estate of David Michael Forquan.
Yeah.
And that's the one we had a long discussion, a meeting a couple weeks ago, where we actually asked the, what's her title? The executors?
The administratrix.
Administratrix, to return her appointment letters.
Right.
And essentially, now they've sent us a motion that they wanted us to consider. Well, we were kind of in limbo because that matter is in circuit court.
Right.
And we took the position that we really wanted to wait until the court had weighed in. But as a matter of just making sure that nothing changed regarding the estate, we decided to ask the individual to send her appointment letters back, and she was formally notified to do so. So I don't really see us doing anything with this action, other than, and Jeff, you may want to, you may feel one way or the other, but we maybe should acknowledge that we received it, but, we have a pending action of the individual as to return those letters, which he hasn't done yet.
Right. Our intent was to stay the estate until the circuit court made any action on it. I don't, my personal feeling would be not to take any action other than perhaps to direct the clerk to send another letter to the individual and perhaps consider more serious.
Do we acknowledge the receipt of that motion and say, we received this motion, but, we have standing direction to
Yes.
your client to return the letters of administration?
In her request, as a response to the original motion to remove the administratrix, she did note, or her attorney noted, that you can either deny the relief or they would request to appoint a neutral executor. So she's made a request as well.
To have a temporary administrator
Yeah.
assigned until one can be permanently assigned by the court.
Right. But regardless,
Right.
she needs to surrender her letters of administration.
I think that's the most pressing
Yeah, I agree.
matter in front of us, and I don't know that without having further review, we should be in a position to
Right.
suggest that the clerk appoint anyone else at this point.
Where I would move that we direct the estate's office to send a letter reminding her that she needs to return those letters, those letters of authorization, whatever they're called.
Administration.
Administration.
Yep. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's all for consent and approval. Moving on, introduction of new employees, personnel changes. We have Sheriff Forbes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So the first person we have here is Randy Stockton. He's a retired deputy sheriff, as you probably remember. He has applied for, been hired to be one of the school safety officers starting next Thursday, January the 16th. This is a full-time position that is benefits eligible. And I think that's all.
Okay, I would move that we accept the appointment as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next.
The other school safety officers were unable to go to the firing range Monday, so we'll
Makes
get them
sense.
up here next week. The next appointment would be Ryan Taylor, currently is a court, I'm sorry, back to Randy, that's gonna be in the 700 budget, in case that wasn't in the form. Ryan Taylor, currently a court security officer, is moving over from the 703 budget to the 701 budget as a process server. This is full-time, benefits eligible as well.
I move that we approve the position as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just state that I'm sorry to see Ryan move away from the front. It's always known Ryan for many years, and it's nice to see him smiling and happy down there, and everybody seems to enjoy his company quite a lot. So sorry to see him, but I'm sure the process server is in need, and he'll do a very good job. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And lastly, Carrie Webster is being assigned to be the evidence custodian. She's coming from a secretarial position from budget 703, moving into the 700 budget as well. And again, this is a full-time benefits eligible position.
Move that we approve the position as presented.
And I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Thank you.
Against. Gentlemen.
No more employees, Renetta?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on, comments from the public. At this time, anyone is welcome to come forward and have a brief amount of time at the president's discretion, no more than about 3 minutes. State your name and address, and at this time, I'll open the public comment session of the meeting. Anyone wish to come forward? Seeing no one, I will close the, oh, sorry. The pillar gets in my way as well. so.
No, I'm moving slowly this morning.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm Lindsay Jacobs. I live in the 5th Ward in the city of Morgantown. Glad to see everybody's here safe because of the weather. I'm here because I saw on the agenda that council has correspondence about the shelter and the numbers for the first month of its operation under Catholic Charities. And I wanted to do some fact checking about the issue or the data as it relates to residency. There was some commentary from a commissioner last week about residency and what residency means, and the fact or the idea that many of the people that are staying at the shelter are from other places. And so for those folks who may not know, or for commissioners who may not know, when somebody goes to the shelter, whether it's the warming shelter or whether it's the longer term shelter, there's an intake form that folks fill out that asks people where their last place of residency was. So last night at City Council, I used myself as an example. So I've been back in West Virginia, living here since 2022, but before that I lived in Greenville, South Carolina. So my last place of residency before Morgantown was Greenville. So if you ask me that question, my last address was 52 Glen Street, Greenville, South Carolina, but I've lived in Morgantown for 2 years. And so for a lot of folks who are here and they're transient, they've been in Morgantown. I have friends who've been here. I have a friend that comes to mind immediately who's been here in Morgantown for 5 years, but the last place he had an address was Princeton. So if you ask him where his last address was, he would say, well, I lived at my mom's house in Princeton. So that's the last physical address he had. So the data, that's not really a good question for us to be asking to find out whether somebody's a resident of Morgantown or not. In fact, anybody staying up at the shelter right now, I could go register them to vote today. In fact, I probably will. So that we can put this whole residency question to bed, because really it's a straw man. Why do we care where people are from? They live here. They're here now. They're members of our community. They're our neighbors. At the end of the day, we complain about them being on the street. So they're a problem for our community. So at the end of the day, they're people that we need to take care of. They're a problem that we need to deal with. So I don't really understand why the issue of residency is something that the commission has decided to really hang its hat on. I know there's this question, or we've become sort of obsessed with this idea that people are coming here because of our services, but one thing the commission has never really talked about is that DHHR did a study or did a survey about why people move around from different places in West Virginia, looking sort of at this transient population, both why people come to West Virginia and then why people move from county to county in West Virginia. And what they found is that largely people aren't moving around for services, they're moving around because of connections. Maybe they have a child, maybe they have a parent, maybe they have a partner or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and they're moving to different places because of those connections, not because of services. I also find that we kind of talk out both sides of our mouth on that issue, right? On the one hand, we complain that people won't access services, right? We have all these services and people won't use them. They don't want help. And on the flip side, we say, everybody's coming to Morgantown because of our services. It can't be both. So which is it? Again, at the end of the day, I think Commissioner Bloom put up the post and overwhelmingly people commented. I don't know what he was after, but people responded to his post and said, well, who cares, right? They're here, they're our problem, we need to take care of them. But again, these people are residents. The question is a bogus question. It doesn't get us the data that we're after. Any statistician would look at that question and say, this is a bad question. So if we want to ask that question, one, there are better ways to ask it. It's not a good question. It actually reminds me of sort of anti-immigrant sentiment, which is interesting, Commissioner Bloom, because I happen to know that you've helped one of our clients gain status here, someone from somewhere else, right? An immigrant who isn't from this community. And I don't know if it comes down to people we think are deserving or not deserving, but there are plenty of people who come to Morgantown who aren't from here, but that doesn't matter. They're here now. They're our neighbors. We're going to take care of them. I'm a taxpayer. Sometimes I feel like you all act like this is like your pot of money, like you're dragons sitting on a hoard and you get to decide what to do with it. But at the end of the day, this is actually our money. We get to decide what to do with it, and I think people overwhelmingly are supportive of both a warming shelter and Grace Shelter. Catholic Charities is doing a phenomenal job. That's one of the best things that the county and the city have done in a really long time. People are very supportive of what we're doing up there, and we'd love to see you just throw your whole weight behind Dr. Thompson and what the folks up there at Grace Shelter and the warming shelter are doing. So yeah, I just wanted to debunk some of the conversation about residency and just also sort of flag and caution that if we keep having those conversations, I think we could put our federal funding in jeopardy. And I also think there are some legal concerns about continuing to focus on denying services for people who aren't from here. And I don't think, the city or the county need any more legal problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we don't generally respond. At this point, our rules don't permit it, but I'm sure that it may be addressed in our comments at the end of the meeting. So if there's anyone else that would like to come forward, public comment, seeing no one else, I will now close public comment. Moving on, grants, Colleen Kuhn. We have no grants today. Moving on to correspondence. So we received, right on topic, a report submitted from Catholic Charities on warming shelter statistics for December 2024. It's noted in our respondent in our agenda.
I'd like to respond since she's opened up a can of worms. It's very difficult to respond since you're part of a group that's suing us, so I have to be very careful of how I'm allowed to respond. But you don't have the correct facts. We don't collect the numbers. That came from the Catholic Charities. 34 individuals were served, of which 5 specifically were from Morgantown, Mon County area. The individuals also served were Parksburg, Elkins, Fairmont, Flemington, Huntington, Ohio, Texas, Virginia, Minnesota. The 17 that did an unknown address could have said Morgantown or Mon County. They chose not to. You continually take the information and sway it, which is unfortunate because what we did and what we're trying to do is get people out of the encampments in a warm environment and try and help them. The money that we give, this specific money, is directly from the city and the county, not from state or federal guidelines. So therefore, our taxpayers want to make sure that we're providing funds for our individuals. When we see that the individuals are not using it from our county, it comes to be a problem. We want to collect the data to see what we can do best to help the individuals. But I will say this. I watched you on videotape. I have personally seen where you have gone after and bullied a city council member and one individual who is a landlord who lives outside of Morgantown, lives in New Jersey, and you point blank said they have no right or input into any of the policies here. But you turn around and say, oh, but if people come from another area, we do. We are trying to help everyone. Not once did we say that we're turning anyone away or telling them they can't go to that shelter. What we did was ask to try and prioritize so we can help our citizens. And that is what the facts are. Thank you.
Moving on, we received an email regarding the Federal Bureau of Prisons' decision to close FCI Morgantown. This was from a citizen who was recently hired in a capacity over there, and before he even started, got a notification that the center would be closing from the federal government. So his status is up in the air. He's asked us to look into it in some way to see if there's anything that we can do. Obviously, on a local level, we have no authority over the Federal Bureau of Prisons, but I'm sure that we can make a couple inquiries to see what we can find out.
I mean, I would direct that they would contact their federal representatives, their representative in the House, our 2 senators, because we really don't have any power to sway a federal decision. And for the record, these individuals they're not losing their jobs, they're being transferred to Hazeltown. So again, it affects 150 families, and we don't want to, we're, saddened that it's affecting them. But we don't really have a say. It's a federal matter. And so we, again, like you said, we can make inquiries, or we can ask our representatives at the federal level to look into it. But that's really about all we can do.
Yeah, contacting your federally elected representatives will probably be the way to go. Our senators and our members of the House of Representatives. Anything?
No.
Any other correspondence, Renetta?
No.
Moving on, no unfinished business. We'll move to new business. A, consideration to approve requisition number 17 for the University Town Center Series 2023A Property Tax District Administrative Expense Fund.
The requisition is for $4,507.50. This is Municap's monthly invoice services.
Move that we approve requisition 17 for the UTC Series 2023A Property Tax District Administrative Expense Fund as presented.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. B, consideration to approve requisition number 98 for the University Town Center Excise District Administrative Expense Fund.
Requisition is for $9,373.75. Again, for Municap's monthly invoice.
I move that we approve requisition number 98 for the UTC Excise Tax District Administrative Expense Fund.
So moved. Second? Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. C, consideration of an appointment to the Mountain Lion Transit Authority. So,
This is for Wes Nugent, and it's a
Right.
reappointment. And I think Wes has been a wonderful participant in the Mountain Lion Transit Authority appointment. I don't think we have anybody else that's applied for a position.
No.
Okay. So I would move that we reappoint Wes Nugent as presented.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And lastly, to consider and act upon a resolution of the County Commission which would set a public hearing date and provide notice of such public hearing regarding the approval of the adoption of a certain parcel of land to the County Commission of Monongalia County Development District Number 5, Harmony Grove, the TIF District, resulting in amended boundaries of the TIF District and certain other changes in connection therewith.
I would make a motion that we proceed with the notification process for the 2 readings and the public meeting as requested.
Second?
All in favor? Or any discussion?
Well, you want to have a
I'm gonna
little,
have
just
a-
a general discussion since they're here?
Sure,
I'll come up first.
please.
Good morning and happy New Year, Commissioners. Jason Turner from Steptoe and Johnson, County Commission's bond counsel on this matter. It wouldn't be the first meeting of a year without something about TIF, right? You guys got to have TIF at least once a meeting, it seems like. As you may recall, in spring of 2021, the commission voted after applying for the creation of the Harmony Grove Tax Increment Financing District to create that district. At that time, the boundaries were set, but it has since become clear that there is a parcel that is right adjacent to the existing district where the developer is going to be doing some additional development, and it would make sense to include that parcel within the district as well in order to increase the tax increment and also allow for the public infrastructure in that area to be built with the help of property tax increment revenues. This is the standard procedure that we go through for any application to the state. We start with a public hearing, and so the resolution that you're considering for adoption today provides for a public hearing on February 12th, at your meeting on February 12th. Almost Valentine's Day. It's a loving time. TIFs are a loving thing to get involved with, I think. And so this authorizes the publication of 2 notices of public hearing, sets that public hearing date, and then you'll take your next action then on the 12th. Any questions about the specific development or kind of how we got to this point? Mr. Adrian with In-Route Properties is here and would, I'm sure, be happy to answer any questions you might have. But otherwise, that's pretty much it from a legal and procedural standpoint.
The only question I have is from a procedural. We'd have 2 readings.
I don't think we have to do a readings on, this is not an ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, these
So
are-
we don't have to do a reading or anything like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you'll have this resolution, then the publications, and then we'll send the notices and the applications to the levying bodies that are affected, give them the notice that's required by the statute. And then on the 12th, after the public hearing, if the commission is so inclined to proceed and submit the application to the state, there'd be a resolution then that authorizes submission to the state. And then, assuming the state then approves of the boundary amendments and the other items in the application, it would come back after approval to the commission to enter an order. So each of those official actions are just 1 reading, but you will have 3 total official actions by the end.
Does the state have a time frame that they have to make a decision?
It's 60 days
Okay.
under the statute. They're usually quicker than that, especially for something that's pretty straightforward like this one is. But yeah, that is the statutory period of time that they have, is this 60-day period to review and get back to us.
So this is us setting forward the procedure that's set forth in statute.
Yep.
When a petition is made, we put it forth for public comment, and then a decision will be made down the line. So we're not
Correct.
making a decision on the petition itself, just the procedure to move forward.
This
as
is
per
just
statute.
saying, okay, we will have a public hearing
Right.
on the date that we choose, at the time that we choose, and we will publish notices that provide the public with the information that's needed if they wish to make their voices heard.
Great. We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right?
And would it be possible to get the electronic copies of the exhibits that are in the application?
Sure.
For my purposes?
Sure. Yes,
I
not a
appreciate
problem.
Great, thank you. Moving on, reports from elected officials. Granville, anything? No. Reports from county commissioners. Sean?
Since our last meeting, it's been a little slow, obviously, because of the holidays. I did have a broadband tag up on Friday with Comcast regarding Comcast Project 1. We will be, those tag-ups going forward will include information on all 4 Comcast projects, and likewise, I'll be setting up the same cadence for regular meetings with Frontier regarding their 1 project. Obviously, we got hit with a pretty big snowstorm Monday, Tuesday. I appreciate all of our staff, their diligence in getting out and clearing the buildings. I know we were closed on Monday and Tuesday, but they got out and made sure that all of our facilities were accessible. Today's a regular day. We had 1 work session, it's been canceled. Tomorrow is the 2nd Thursday of the month, which is a busy meeting day for me. I have the MAP Executive Board meeting, Red Team, and Development Authority. I will note, though, today I do have a call with the West Virginia Office of Broadband. They wanted to, they're in the middle of evaluation of the BEAD applications, and they wanted to have a touch point as far as what we've been doing recently in regards to broadband projects. So I'll be doing that today at 4 o'clock. Friday, we have staff reports, and then we head off into another busy week of meetings. Ma'am, I wanted to comment, I appreciate everybody that comes and talks to the commission, and for the record, nobody, and we've said this time and time again, nobody will ever be denied service. The only thing we were trying to do with this, and we did the same thing with our bus pass program, is trying to get data. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And it's not a bad thing to try to get data on the people we're serving so that we can better serve those people. And that's really the reason why we're trying to collect data. And again, the main point is nobody will ever be denied service. That's just not something that this commission would ever, specifically deny somebody service. We're just trying to be good stewards of our taxpayers' dollars, and I do note that they are our taxpayers' dollars, and we just don't hand things out without doing our due diligence as far as what effect or what impact are those dollars doing, and how can we do more with less, and that's all we're trying to do. So I appreciate your efforts to this cause and your passion for this cause, but and I hate saying "but" because usually anything that comes after is BS, but I won't say "but." I say I do appreciate your support and what you're doing, and the commission will continue supporting these projects. We're trying to make sure that we're doing right by our citizens as best as we can. So, thank you. That's all I have.
No, I've already said enough.
Okay. Just have a few things. I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners for entrusting me with the role as president for the incoming year. I won't let you down. Secondly, I want to give a special thank you to Jimmy Smith and all his work over the last few days, our 911 director. He's been around the clock monitoring the weather and the roads and organizing calls with us to make important decisions on closures and things of that nature. So I'm not sure if the man ever sleeps, but we certainly appreciate his dedication to keeping our citizens safe. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if things work out, our sledding hill may or may not be operational this weekend. The goal is that's why our work session was canceled. Our parks director is out there diligently working. We had an issue with one of our machines that he's trying to fix, and hopefully the sledding hill will be operational. It's fantastic when we have enough snow and get it working. It's a great thing. So if you want to participate, we do have a reservation portal online. You have to reserve your spot beforehand because with safety, we're limited to the number of people that can go at any one session. And I'll also thank Ms. Jacobs for her comments today. Like Sean said, anyone's welcome to come in and offer their opinions. The only thing I'll take issue with was the comment about us being dragons hoarding over treasure. It is the citizens' money. We are completely aware of that. We, however, are elected to disperse that money, and we do so not willy-nilly, so to speak. We go to great lengths to make sure that every dollar is used and also capitalized to create more dollars. In situations like this, we've increased our input into the warming shelter by well over tenfold in what we had given the prior year. So we're very concerned about the situation. We shepherded, and Commissioner Bloom was vital in shepherding the transfer of power or the control of that shelter from the Bartlett House to Catholic Charities. He was our point person on working with the city to get that done, as well as I served on the committee with Danielle and Emily to get that done. So I'm not sure anyone's done more in that situation than Commissioner Bloom for pushing that thing forward. As Commissioner Score indicated, we're especially Sean is a data freak. He I mean that in a good way. He collects the data, he organizes it, he presents it to us and to the citizens, and we have to do our due diligence to submit data, and we will not deny someone services. And of course, we're not the ones in charge of that. We simply facilitate the facility to run how they run it. we just have a duty to our taxpayers to serve all of our citizens, not just a small segment. So with that, does anyone else have anything else?
No?
I'll
Move to
entertain-
adjourn.
Second?
We are adjourned.